The family of Yanira Maldonado, an Arizona mom arrested last Wednesday in Mexico and accused of smuggling 12 pounds of marijuana, is claiming that she was framed. Last night, Yanira's daughter Anna Soto spoke to CNN's Piers Morgan about her mother's innocence. Take a listen.
I know that my mom's innocent. She would never, ever do that. It's just, I can't explain to you. All I know is that she's innocent.
Joining us to discuss, we have trial attorney Richard Roth. Richard, it's great to have you here. Could the family be right? I mean, was Yanira actually framed?
They actually could be right. As it turns out, I understand that they do have footage. They have video of her walking on and walking off the bus. We're talking about 12 pounds of marijuana. So that is a massive amount of marijuana. And if there is footage of her actually walking on, sitting down, and there being a package below her, then yes, there's a very good shot that she was framed.
So if you were Yanira's lawyer, what are the next steps?
Well, I need to do a few things. Number one is I want that footage, which allegedly exists. Number two is I want to know who the witnesses are. Apparently there are witnesses there as well, who the lawyers have spoken to, who have said that she did not have it. She may have very well innocently sat down on a bus, on a bus seat, and below her may have been that marijuana. It has happened before. 12 pounds, it's not like we're talking about a gram or a pound or 3 pounds. It's a lot of marijuana. So my guess is there are witnesses and footage which would prove her innocence or guilt.
It's a lot of marijuana. Marissa Emily writes in, I believe she was set up to distract authorities from a bigger drug smuggling transaction. It's common in Mexico. I have friends in Tijuana's police department. He claims this is not unheard of. He always advised me to check my car before entering and leaving Mexico. So obviously, Richard, this happens more often than we might think.
It does, and that may be it, or maybe something else. We don't know what it was. It may be that the drugs were put on the bus, and someone's supposed to pick the drugs up when the bus makes its first stop. We don't know exactly what happened. There is a lot of drug smuggling. We're aware of that. And she may very well have been an innocent victim here. So stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, Richard. Let's move on to the next one, though. Zubaydayat Tsarnaeva, the mother of Boston Marathon bombing suspect Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, told Bloomberg News that she spoke with her son for the first time since he was locked up for his alleged role in the April explosion. Their conversation, though, only lasted 6 minutes. So, Richard, do we know at all what he told her in those 6 minutes?
We don't know what we told her, but what's coming out of her mouth is just borders on ridiculous. The last time she spoke, she said she didn't care if her son was killed. The second son, the first one's already dead, we know. This is a woman who came to the U.S., worked at a spa. She got arrested for shoplifting a $1,200, $1,300 item at Lord & Taylor's. When she was supposed to appear in court, she fled the country. She's not allowed back in because she is apparently still a missing defendant in a lawsuit. And she said some pretty preposterous things. We also know that they have some tapes of her and her other son talking about jihad. So I really don't give her much credence. We don't know what they spoke about, but my guess is it was a motherly son conversation.
Well, from what I'm reading, she told Bloomberg News that he said, I'm absolutely fine. My wounds are healing. Everything is in God's hands. Be patient. Everything will be fine.
Which, you know, is what a son would normally tell his mother. Don't worry about me. He's halfway across the world and he's going to be fine. Which is probably thinking as a parent what happened. But I don't take much of what she said. I take it with a grain of salt.
Well, obviously, this family's very religious. They seem to put it all in God's hands, and they say whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, and you know, by this point, it's true. He was arrested. There will be a trial. I think that's essentially what they have to do is leave it in God's hands.
Will it be a fair trial, though, in your mind, Richard?
It's the answer is yes. I believe it will be a fair trial. Apparently, there is unbelievably strong evidence. If they have, for example, which we've seen snippets of on different networks, these two guys walking in with the backpacks, put the very backpacks down, which are the same backpacks which blew up the scene, blew up the marathon, and then saw them walking away. This is the finish line of one of the most popular marathons in the world. So there is probably going to be a massive footage of these two guys and what they were doing. So I think it will be fair. I don't think, just from everything I've heard, it'll be that good for this defendant.
Well, let's move on, Richard. We'll keep an eye on that one. A 3-day search for former college quarterback Colin Finnerty has ended In tragedy, authorities found Finnerty, who went missing on Sunday while fishing near his family's cottage in a remote wooded area in Michigan. The cause of his death, though, is still unknown. Richard, do authorities suspect foul play at all?
This is one that's just starting to come out. There are some signs of something was amiss. Apparently, this is not a river that one goes fishing in, which is odd that he'd be fishing in a river that doesn't have fish. The second thing is that apparently when he left, he was uncomfortable, he was upset, something made him leave. So the answer is yes, there may be some foul play here. We don't know what it was. This is a guy who is revered in his community. He was one of the most successful quarterbacks in, I think it's Grand Valley State College, Grand Valley State University. He had over 50 wins. He had national titles in a Division II game. He was on the Broncos, as we saw footage. He also tried out for it and played for the Ravens a bit. So very well-respected kid, and it's very unfortunate. We don't know what exactly went down here.
That's another story we're just going to have to keep an eye on. So much just unknown at this point.
It really is. You hear about these things, and your heart goes out to their families. We will presumably learn as time goes on why he was either committed suicide or was murdered, and what led to it. It's very sad.
It's such a sad story. Richard, thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Stick with us. We've got more coming up at HuffPost Live.